everybody. I have Michelle Alexandra on the line. How are we doing today, Michelle?
We're doing great. Super excited to be with you.
Super excited. I like that, and I like that you are here and to tell us all about Mileage Tracker. Before we get into Mileage Tracker, tell us about you. You and I met at a networking meeting for the local Chamber of Commerce here, and tell us how you got into Mileage Tracker. Like, what do you do? What's your job? What did you do before your job? You know, the short version, not the 2 hour version, just kind of like the 10 minute version.
Well, my big thing is I always wanted to be in business for myself. So when I got out of high school, I actively sought out a program that was for entrepreneurship. I ended up going to Babson College, which focuses on entrepreneurship, which I absolutely love. I get to flail about the fact that we get to start businesses our freshman year, so you get hands-on experience and that kind of thing. Um, Hilariously, when I got out of university, I went into banking, which is about like the opposite from entrepreneurship you can possibly be in.
Yeah.
I was in operations. I did all these little detail things. Fortunately, that actually helps me in what I'm doing right now because there's a lot of data to process.
Yep.
But it was not what I meant to do. So I was working at a co-working space when I met my co-founder. She works in the States, I work in Canada.
Okay.
And she really wanted to solve this problem, and we worked really, really well together. So when we met each other and she presented what she wanted to do, I was really on board. I'm really good at marketing, actually. So there was a lot of, I hate to use this word, but synergy.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. No, that's great. That's great. You certainly have the personality for it. That's for sure.
thank you. So when we found the device that we currently use, we knew we were onto something. And about 4 years ago, we started a branch in the States. We're all up and down the East Coast now.
Okay.
And just this past year, I've started opening up in Canada. And of course, it's not as easy as just being like, here's our product, but
Yeah.
you had to go through all of the starting a business thing. But
Yeah.
I'm the head honcho of the Canadian
The
function.
head honcho. I like that. I like to be dealing with the head honchos. So, okay, so I'm sure most people will know what Mileage Tracker does just by the name, but you said that you saw a problem or you found a need. Um, Tell us what that problem or need was that you guys saw from a business standpoint.
Well, the big thing about mileage is, of course, it's part of taxes, and nobody likes to talk about taxes, and
No,
particularly people who are not accountants. We do not like to admit that we don't know what we're doing with our
that's right.
taxes.
That's
We
right.
hope that our accountant does.
Yeah.
But for those of us who are in sales related positions or we own our own business, mileage is a huge deduction for us, and you'd be surprised the number of people who are like, oh, my accountant just handles that, they wrote a number down and that's what I took off this year, or I didn't do anything with it because I'm terrified of it.
Oh, wow.
And so I and on top of that, if you're going to do it correctly, it's a huge time sink for you because both the IRS and the CRA require a huge amount of data if you ever get audited. Now, most people go, oh, I'm not going to get audited. I'm too small.
Oh, no, no, no.
That's not exactly how that works.
Yeah.
So, of course, those of us who actually are trying to do it, it's a lot of work. There's 7 pieces of information that every trip is required to have for both the CRA and the IRS,
Okay.
and it takes a lot of time to get that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Tell us what those. Do you know what those 7 are? Can you tell us what those 7 pieces are?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody's asked me that
Yeah,
since
well, I'm
the
sure.
history
I'm
of
sure.
time. But you're required to have the date, the amount of mileage traveled, the beginning address, the ending address, and the purpose of the trip, and the business it belongs to, because everybody has a number of things that.
Shoo, I got all 7. I was worried I might only had 4 or something there. So good.
Yeah. So, and you need your beginning odometer and your ending odometer. So that's everything you need
Yeah.
to claim something. And of course, every business has different requirements on how far you have to divide that out. Like in the States, property has to be done by property,
Yeah.
but that's an individualistic business type thing.
Right. Right. Okay. So you guys started a program, and you know what? This show deals a lot with creative entrepreneurs, the artists like myself, that are not business savvy. My dad's an accountant, my brother's an accountant, my nephews are accountant, and I have another accountant. But so I understand accounting pretty well for a creative person, but I'm
Yeah.
certainly not an accountant. I don't do my taxes. I have an accountant who does that, and don't want to. I actually don't want to deal with numbers as far as that goes. but mileage tracker sounds very important. So tell us what mileage tracker does. Give us the overview of mileage tracker itself.
So mileage tracker, obviously, it solves the problem of what I just explained. We collect all of that data that I just told you you needed.
Yeah.
What is unique about us is we are definitely the most effective way to do that, because you're required to do that individualistically per car, and
Right.
things like phone apps can't tell the difference between what vehicle you're in and are limited by things like power. Ours goes directly into the vehicle, so there's no issue on that level. Um, but beyond that, we're like a small computer, so it's not just mileage that we can focus on over time. So mileage is where we got started because there's a lot of money to the people who use it there. It's a good way to get started into connected car, and most people don't know what connected car is either.
Yeah, go ahead and explain it, because I'm not sure. I kind of have an idea, but go ahead and explain it, please.
So connected car is part of the what's going to be the automated car industry, because every car has a onboard computer, and everybody goes, my car doesn't have a computer. Your car has a computer.
Yeah.
I don't care how old it is.
Yeah, yeah. If it's over 1970, it probably has a computer in it. So.
Exactly. But the idea of connected car is it allows essentially cars to be forward compatible as new technology comes out, because
Okay.
it can access the computer and then make it more like the newer things that come out. Now, I can't put a screen in your car, obviously, but I can still get you all that data that you would have had if you had a newer vehicle, or if it needed to talk to an automated vehicle, I could let it do that.
Okay. Good. So that's cool. Okay, so you were telling us about miles tracker. So you've got the connected car that you called it, and then so go on. Sorry to interrupt. I just thought we may as well clarify it as we're going.
No, it's all good. But so the big thing about it is once it's in the car, I want everybody to know that I'm just as bad at doing this as they are. It's not like I'm sitting here going, I know all the rules.
You're your own test case. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
But the thing about this is once you've got this plugged into your car, the only thing you have to do is tell it whether it's business or personal, because I cannot read your mind.
Right.